Hello folks, welcome to Friday. It is Hobby Nightmares time, as you all well know. If it's Friday, Wednesday or a Monday, we do Hobby Nightmares, so here we are. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you do like what I do and you're getting some models pretty soon, then make sure you head over to Composite Games and give them some love. They are really cool people. They really do help out the channel a lot, and they ensure that, you know, we have prizes to give away and things like that when we're doing prize draws. The next prize draw will be in a month's time. It will be on the 8th of October, so it will be Sunday the 8th of October will be the next prize draw. It will be on there, and I'm working on prizes. They should be up and ready to go by Monday. So as soon as I've gotten word that we can get those prizes out the door, we can get those prizes out the door. Anyway, give them some love. If you're going to get some stuff, make sure you use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off your order at checkout when you're getting any Warhammer or things like that. Yeah, that kind of a thing. All good stuff. So, let's move on, shall we? Hobby Nightmares time. Grey Knight Phil says, "Hello North, hope you're doing well. Would love to see you do more impressions in the future." Impressions? They always crack me up when you do them. Oh, right, okay, like, to do people's voices. To be fair, like, I only do them just to, like, the girl I'm with, like, the missus that I'm with now, whenever I do them, like, she just absolutely loses it. Like, she just starts laughing, and I don't know why people find them amusing, because it's literally me losing control and getting really annoyed, and like, embodying the person that really annoys me. But people find it amusing, so maybe I'll carry on doing it. I don't know. It's kind of organic. It kind of just comes out of nowhere. I'd rather keep it that way, you know what I mean? Anyway. Hope you like this ode to the hobby and would appreciate getting some insight from you in regard to how to deal with people from the end of the story. So, let's start from the beginning. My entry to the Warhammer world was orchestrated by my father. I was 7 years old, and my dad and I were walking through our main city square. He knew that the local gaming store was nearby, and we went in to take a look. When we entered the store, I was greeted with shelves upon shelves, full of painted Warhammer Fantasy and 40k minis. I swear I could have stayed there for days, as I was checking each and every one of the armies. My dad talked with the guy that was working there, and after some time, we left the store. While we walked to the car, my dad asked me if I would like to get some models and start an army, to which I happily replied, "Of course," and started rambling about how I would build them, paint them, and all that kind of stuff. A few months passed, and Christmas came along. You can probably see where this is going. There was a wrapped box under the tree with my name on it, and at first glance it looked like some sort of a book, so I opened it, and lo and behold, it was a box full of wood elves. Glade Guard. I never told my dad I had my eye on them, but hey, that's what good parents do. He paid attention to all the things I was into at the time, that being Lord of the Rings, of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, things like that, in which I always played the elves. From that point onwards, every bit of money I would get went into building an army and painting it. My Chad of a dad would always check my progress and spend time with me as I was building and painting. As luck would have it, my neighbour and best friend also got hooked when he saw my models. So, he started an orc army. We played countless games in his yard, on a big stone table, just having a blast. I will never forget his grandma bringing us drinks and snacks as we were throwing dice and minis being banged off the table with a measure tape. One time, we even ruined her terrace when we were priming our armies with black primer. I've done that as well. My mother was not pleased. So she needed to use acid to wash it away. Oh, the good times. Since we had no other people to play with, our hobby time somewhat stopped when we were in high school. But we would still talk about lists and lore often. All through high school and college, I was out of the hobby. On one hand, because I felt like nobody understood it and would shame me for painting little metal and plastic men. On the other hand, I had very little free time with college and hanging around with friends after classes. That's not something to feel bad about, man. Everybody comes in and out of the hobby at different points in their lives, you know what I mean? Same as gaming. Like, gaming does that as well. People get out of gaming for a while just because they're too busy, you know? Unfortunately, at that time, my dad passed away. Oh, that's a shame. So it was kind of hard for me to even look at my old minis. A few years after college, I met my girlfriend, and when we would talk about our days as kids, I would tell her about my Warhammer fanaticism, to which she thought it was some sort of video game or something. I should add that I don't look like a quote-to-quote regular geek. I surf, I travel a lot, working as a documentary photographer, and always had a really easy time with women. But I would never tell them about Warhammer, because no matter how much I would explain, I could see that they were looking through me when I talk about it. Okay, here's the mistake you're making there, man. Alright? I'm not sure if you've seen this episode yet. I did talk about it previously. Women love Warhammer. They do. They absolutely adore Warhammer. They adore the fact that you're into Warhammer if two things are happening. One, she's attracted to you already, and two, you market it to her. How'd you do that? Well, you tell her, like, you know, she goes, oh, what are your hobbies? And you say, well, I'm actually into Warhammer. And before she even starts rolling her eyes, you say, no, I'm actually into Warhammer because, you know, it helps my artistic side. You know, I've got a real artistic side. I like to create things with my hands. I like to, like, build things, and I like to, you know, I'd love to do pottery. I'd love to do, like, smithing and things like that. You know, I like to build things, and Warhammer lets me do that. It lets me build these things from scratch that are unique to me and my colour schemes, my painting, and it really helps with my fine, deft control of my hands, you know. And yeah, it's something that I've always liked to do, and it really does help me de-stress, you know. After a long day at work, I spend an hour just doing that. It lets me declutter my mind, reset my goals for the next day, and off I go again, you know. Then I'll make some dinner and chill out. If you say it that way to a woman, she goes, oh, that's nice. That's the least she's going to do. She's going to go, oh, that's nice, and she'll move on, right? It's not weird to her now. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that, right? The geeky nerds who you're approaching, women will be like, that's hot as fuck. That's hot as fuck. This is a guy who's like this is a guy, right? I like this guy, right? That's just, you know, if you act ashamed of Warhammer, if you act like it's some sort of vice, she will also act like it's some kind of vice. They take their lead from you because they don't know anything about your life. Remember, the only things they know about your life is what you tell them. If your body language and your words are telling them that Warhammer is something to be ashamed of, even if they don't know what it is, they will act like it's something to be ashamed of and that you should stop doing it, and they will look straight through you. Right? If you act proud of it, but not on like a bullshit way, if you just explain why it's important to you and why it's productive for you to be into it, job done. Job done, right? Anyway, back to my MVP girlfriend. When we moved in with each other, I decided I would show her my minis. You're literally that guy. You're literally that guy from 50 Shades of Grey. I want to show you my pleasure room. You just walk in, it's like elves everywhere. Aha! My elven brothers. Anyway. I decided to show her my minis. So I sat her down on the bed, pulled out an old box, and started pulling my troops out. This sounds so dirty. She grabbed the first one and started laughing for like 15 minutes. She looked at me and said, geez, this is unreal. You painted this at 7? After that, she gave me a nudge to get back in the hobby. Oh, I thought that was going to end really badly. Very nice. So, I ordered some Grey Knights. A man of culture and wisdom, I see. So I ordered some Grey Knights and Inquisition for myself, and some Sisters for her. She dabbled a bit, but didn't really have the patience and time to really go in at the deep end. But would really support my progress, same as my dad. She loves to look at my finished minis. I will attach a photo of my painted Grey Knights and a few Inquisitors that you can show here. Right, I'm going to show them, because when I saw them the other day, I was like, oh my god, these are amazing. Let me just have a little look here. Image. Where are you? Here he is. Look at these. Absolutely gorgeous. Those are absolutely stonking. Look at that. Look at that. What a painter, man. Well done. Well done. Ah, love it. I'm in the process of converting my Grey Knights. So all of my Grey Knights are essentially being Primaris sized now. I'm using the Leviathan box set Terminators to build up some Grey Knights. So yeah, should be fun. Anyway, I'm also working on my Pile of Shame at the moment. A retinue for every Inquisitor and Deathwatch kill team. I have a goal to make every Ordo for my collection. My friends also started getting back into the hobby. One friend with Space Wolves, another with Orcs, and my friend wants to do a Thousand Suns army. Times are great, and I feel like I'm playing those games in the yard again. Same as when we were kids. Until we went to check out a tournament that was held in our city. We thought, let's have a look and see if the vibe is the same as when we were playing. And we should join in the future and make some new friends to share hobby and some games with. When we got inside and respectfully took a lap to see what was going on, we decided to talk to a few people and see what they like to play and kind of get an overall vibe of the tournament scene. I kid you not, North. Every guy that would hear that I play Grey Knights would say, haha, gay Knights. Can you play something even more boring? My god. Few people would literally dogpile our armies when we asked about what we played. To which I thought to myself, dude, are you 5 years old? But smiled politely, and after a few more interactions like this, we went home, feeling our goal to find cool people is a failure. I should note that the people that were painting and building in the corner of the hall were golden. Players, on the other hand, not so much. But hey, as much as it would be great to have a big active group, I'm happy with 5 of my close buddies, playing every week and having a great old time. Dude, you've got a bigger group there than what most people have. You do. I just don't understand grown men acting like they have zero socialising in their life, especially around other guys who love the hobby and would welcome them with no problem otherwise. Thanks for reading this and keep up the good work, Phil. So here's the problem, Phil. Here's the problem. I'm going to spell it out for you. You're successful and good looking. Alright? That's the problem. That's the problem. These guys, a lot of these guys have been bullied and maligned and intimidated by guys like you their entire lives. So the minute you come into their space and do something that they might not agree with, or they might think is a bit lame, like Grey Knights, which they're not, by the way, but they might think so. The minute they do that, they're going to dogpile you. The shoe is on the other foot. It's Revenge of the Nerds time. Yeah, the shoe is on the other foot. Here is a successful man coming in, good-looking guy, good with the ladies. Well, now it's my time to finally get my own back on this guy, because I can't do the things that he can do, right? I'm sorry if you think I'm being cynical, if you're listening to this video, but it's true. I've seen it happen, right? It's true. It happens all the time in the hobby, unfortunately. It takes a lot of... What you are, man, what you are, Phil, is you're a self-actualized person, right? You're somebody who's gone through life, has taken their knocks, and has built a life for yourself. You're good with women, you've got a good backbone, you've got a good, like a good head on your shoulders, and that's why you were able to walk away from that situation and not feel any worse for it. Do you know what I mean? These guys are not the same. These guys have had, as you just said, no hope of socializing or interacting or building the foundation that you have. What they're doing is they're standing on a pit of sand, shouting at you in your house and going, "Gay Knights!" Right? That's what they're doing. So don't feel too bad about it. And again, I'm not even having a go at the guys who are perpetrating this behaviour. Even though it's lame and stupid and don't do it, I can see why you're doing it. Right? I can see why you're doing it with a guy who looks like this and acts like this. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen these guys be this way with their own kind as well. But it's for a similar reason, right? This is finally their time to shine. It's finally their time to be the big boy on campus, and so when the shoe is on the other foot, rather than turning the other cheek and being the bigger man and acting in a way that's nice, they do exactly what their bullies did when they were younger, or they do exactly the way they've been maligned by other people to other people in their sphere that don't really deserve it. Happens in every walk of life, not just Warhammer, every walk of life. Everything, every part of nerddom. If you're a norm, like a good-looking person, and you go into nerddom, you are gonna get a bit of heat, because they don't like you. You're a representation of all the people who've been having a go at them for years, you know? So it's going to happen. It shouldn't, but also I don't really blame those who are doing it, because I know where it comes from, right? I know that feeling where it comes from. You know, it's not nice. It's not nice. And, again, the only way they can get it on the other side of this is to essentially graduate. Do you know what I mean? It's to essentially step back, go to therapy, talk, get loads of friends, go out, get reps, go to the gym, you know, get their lives on an even keel. And then they'll be where you are, and they'll be getting it in the neck from other nerds. It's a vicious circle, man, but as soon as you step out of it, you'll be happy, and you are happy, so there you go. And again, not having a go, if you're one of these people, I'm not having a go at you. But there's a reason for your behaviour, is what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not even... I used to be really angry at people like that, but now I'm just like, do you know what? Nah, man, something's gone on there to make you like that, you know? And that's me logicking my way out of that behaviour. Anyway, Bloodraven says, "Hey, Mr. North, Bloodraven93 here again. Hope all is well with you, and hope you're surviving the heat wave. Just about, man, it's 23 today, so it's not too bad. But it's been 27, 28, and 29, which in England is, yeah, ridiculous. English summers do this. They start with, like, in May and June, it starts getting warmer, and people are like, oh my god, it's going to be a record summer. I can't deal with this. Even 23 degrees, it's too hot for me, right? It's too hot. And then it'll go away. In July and certain parts of August, it goes away. It's actually quite chilly sometimes. You're like, oh, that was it? I guess that was the English summer. Brilliant. We've had the English summer for 2 or 3 weeks, now it's gone. And even then it was lukewarm, and everyone moans about it, right? Okay, cool. Then, in September, wham! 30 degrees every day, and you're completely unprepared for it, because the weather suckered you into thinking it was cold. No, it's not. Heat wave, bitch. Heat wave. There you go. And then people moan about that, because we're English, and that's what we do. Anyway. Before getting into the nightmare, I thought I'd start with some positive personal stuff. Since I think some of the attitudes of the manager might grind your gears, it's good to start with good news first. Okay, cool. After a long time of being a lazy bastard, I've started getting back into working out. So far, I've gone down 5 pounds. Good lad, good lad. Excellent stuff. I bet you feel better for it. You know what you do? It's kind of silly, but I do this anyway. When I'm losing weight, because my weight goes up and down, right? So when I'm losing weight and I'm getting a bit more trim, and I'm starting to tone up a bit, I will literally walk past a window and stop and go, oh yeah, I'm looking good. You know, and you just stop and you lift your shirt up like, yeah, it's going away. It's cool. You do that, man. Do that. It's not arrogance. Do that. You're affirming, you're doing the right thing. You're exulting in your body, man. You're like, yes, look at my body. This is great, right? Do that. Celebrate your achievements with yourself. As long as you're not an arrogant ass who goes around, you know, telling people how cool you are, showing off too much, celebrate yourself all the time. Look in the mirror as you're losing weight and go, I am losing a bit more weight. I'm not as jowly as I used to be. Wow, cool. Wonder I can make this look even better by shaving this beard away, or doing this or doing that, right? Yeah, go for it, man. Absolutely good. Now for the nightmare. To get a bit of context, I'll have to start with my local games workshop and during its golden age, and a couple of key points during its history before getting into the Nightmare Manager. Okay. I'll just take that off for now. We've seen enough of it. I love the Green Knights, but we've been on there for a little while now. Back during 4th to 6th edition of Warhammer 40k, my local games workshop maintained a healthy balance between being a business and being a community, and a manager who ran the store throughout all of those editions went on to work at Warhammer HQ in Nottingham. It was after this long veteran manager left that my games workshop started to go downhill, when the next manager, we'll call Nathan, started trying to charge hobbyists to use painting tables and gaming tables, £1 per hour for the painting table, and £5 for the gaming table for a maximum of 90 minutes. As could be expected, all of the players who had been there for years, some decades, stopped going to the store. Is he even legally allowed to do that? I'm not sure he's legally allowed to do that. Even from Games Workshop's own standards, I'm not sure that's allowed. I'm fairly sure I'd be disciplined if I tried that as a Games Workshop manager. Fairly certain. Anyway, years later, when I got back into the hobby, about a third of the way through 9th edition, I started going back to my Games Workshop where there was a new manager, who we'll call Liam. Despite my local Games Workshop moving to the outskirts of town where there was less traffic, Liam really tried to bring the community aspect of Warhammer back into the store. I had my first game of 9th edition against him, and he liked to play games against customers to help them adjust to new rules. He would allow games in store as long as you booked in advance. He was so good that he managed to get a few of the old veterans to get back into the hobby. At the end of 2022, Liam told me and my mate he would be leaving the company soon, and he wanted us and warned us that the new manager was, in his words, a well-known bootlicker, and once he arrived, gaming, painting and building would no longer be allowed in the store. We asked him why he was leaving, and that he would be missed because he brought the hobby back for all of us. He responded by saying the following, and I quote, "There's a couple of main reasons really. There's little to no progression in the company from here, and HQ have been adding more and more pressure for me to stop hobby activity in the store. At the last meeting I raised the issue and openly said I allow gaming in the store." Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. As soon as you say that, as soon as you say you allow gaming in the store at one of these meetings, you're done. You're gone. Right? Your days are numbered. Because it's on weekends when everyone is free to play, and then I make the most money. On weekdays, when it's just sad little old me sitting in a dark store alone, I'm lucky if I sell a pot of paint. It's basically consumer psychology. If people see a store as empty, they think it's bad and not worth their time and money. When they see it's a store buzzing with activity and people having fun, they want to spend their money there, because if other people are enjoying themselves, it must be worth spending money on. Exactly. Exactly. Pulling it around to our previous guy, same thing goes for dating. Same thing goes for dating. That's why women are the best wingmen. Because if women see you with other women having fun and having a laugh and having a good time, in general, they're like, well, he's clearly accepted by them. He must be a nice guy. He must be cool, right? Same thing goes for stores as well. If people see your store is open and doing good business, even if you're not selling much, if your store is full and everyone's having fun, people come in. They just walk in on the off chance, you know? So, now we get to the man himself, the Nightmare Manager. We'll call him Aaron. Aaron announced on the Games Workshop Store's Facebook group in February that he was the new manager, and I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and at least greet him and buy a couple of bits. Initially, Aaron seemed rather nice. I bought a couple of paints and showed him some Blood Ravens I was working on. He was even quite encouraging of my stuff, and suggested I take part in the painting competition that was coming up in May. I then asked him the dreaded question. So Aaron, is it true that there's no more gaming or painting in the store? He confirmed that such was the case, and said it was because there were more alternative gaming venues popping up all around the store, so the company didn't need to supply a venue, and because there were bad actors in the community that would drive away potential customers. After some small talk, I said goodbye and was on my way. Over the next few months, I spent time working on my Blood Ravens for the painting competition. All the while, I'm popping into the store to buy new things. Okay, he's not technically wrong on the bad actors thing. Okay, here's the thing. It's good having a store that's full and looks busy and people are having fun, but if somebody new walks into the store and it goes silent because they're all uber nerds in there, right, that's not a good look. You need a busy environment in your store, but you need to cultivate the right environment in your store. The right people. You need the right folks coming in and giving your store a good rep. Okay? And anybody not conductive to that needs to be told, listen man, this is a business, you know, have fun. Let your hair down. Don't swear, don't do anything like that, don't annoy anyone, but let your hair down. And if somebody comes in, just ignore it, just carry on. I know you may be... I had a few autistic people in my store, and we have to say, listen, you're safe in here. I don't care who comes in, you are safe in here. Carry on talking, carry on doing what you're doing if you see someone else walk in, alright? There's no problem here. As long as you say that to people, 9 times out of 10 they'll react and do exactly what you want them to do. Alright? But yes, there are bad actors, you know, there are people who are You know, they win at all cost mentality. There are people who shout about memes all the time, or wah every 3 seconds whenever they do anything in store. Yeah, get rid of those guys, or tell them to adjust their behaviour because you're running a business. They've got a point, but blanket getting rid of everybody is cutting your nose off to spite your face. After the first encounter with Aaron, however, I noticed a drastic change in his attitude. There was one occasion only a month after I first met him when I went to buy a couple of paints that he passively aggressively said, "Oh, is that all?" Yeah man, I responded. He just took a long sigh, scanned my paints and didn't say a word after that. Dude. Oh my god. It's revolting. I knew a mate we'll call Rick, whom I used to game with in store. He went to the store a couple of days before me, and I asked him if Aaron was a bit off with him. I thought maybe I'd just gotten something to annoy him or he'd had a bad day. Rick told me that Aaron had been odd with him too. He went into the store to buy a couple of boxes of Grey Knight Terminators and wasn't even greeted with a hello. He walked around the store looking for the Grey Knights and saw they didn't have what he was after. All the while Aaron was just sitting at the table. Rick said it was weird to have a manager who wasn't even trying to engage with customers, and that as he was walking out of the store, Aaron, in an annoyed tone, said, "Do you want anything, mate?" Oh my god. Rick tends to give the same tone to people that people give him, and just responded to Aaron with, "I don't know, fella, did you want to try selling me something? I mean, I'm open to it." Aaron responded by saying, "Don't waste my time then, mate, cheers." Wow. Wow. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is a manager, right, who has become a Games Workshop manager and has rapidly found out that it's not for him. You know what I mean? I mean, he's known as a bootlicker, I guess, but yeah, this is a guy who's rapidly found out that this ain't for him. Or this is what he's been told to do by head office, because we know he's a bootlicker because the previous manager said, "Yeah, I know this guy." If he's a known entity already, surely he's worked in other stores or ran other stores. So is this what he does? Did he just go around and tank stores? I've heard of a thing called store reset, where Games Workshop will send round temporary managers who tank the store, right, back down to a level where it's not making any money, but all of the problem people, quote unquote, have been chased away by this toxic manager, right? They will then go and hire an actual good manager to come in and build it up in the way that they want it to be built up in. A complete reset, do you know what I mean? I've heard of that. That has happened. But, yeah, anyway. Fast forward to May, and it's time for the painting competition. Aaron has been promoting it like crazy on the Facebook page, and I was looking forward to it. Now, I live over an hour away, and entrance into the competition started at the time of opening about 10 AM, so I had to get up fairly early on the Saturday morning to get there on time. I got to the store around 10:15 AM, and saw to my relief that the worker was in the store, but Aaron wasn't. No worries, I thought. Maybe he's ill or running late, and needs extra help for the event. I told the relief worker that I was in to enter the painting competition, and asked where I should set up my stuff. The guy responded by saying that he has not been informed about any painting competition, and Aaron was on holiday. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Well, this ain't good. This ain't good at all. You've got to be joking, I said. Why the hell didn't Aaron make any update? I had to travel quite far to get here. I can't have imagined how much worse it would have been for people who had to travel further than me. It was only 30 minutes after I got back home that Aaron posted on the Facebook page that the competition had been postponed until June. This is just a scatterbrained guy. It's a scatterbrained guy who's arrogant enough to think like, you know what, your time's worth less than mine. You know what I mean? Come June, I didn't take part in the competition. I wasn't going to waste my time after he had wasted it already. Towards the start of July, I decided to revamp my Imperial Fist by getting some heavy intercessors, wanting to make 2 squads of 10. Unfortunately, none of the other local venues had them in stock, so I begrudgingly called my local GW and asked Aaron if he had any in stock, to which he confirmed he had 5 available. I asked him if he could keep 4 aside for me, and I'd be down to pick them up the following day, to which he agreed. The next day, I headed to the store to pick up my models. Does Aaron change his tone? Does he say hello? Fuck no, he doesn't. He sees me walk into the store and just dumps the boxes on the counter and shoved the card reader towards me without saying a word. After I pay, he doesn't say, have a good day, enjoy your models, or thank you for spending £200 in my store. He just walks back to the table and sits down without saying a word. At this point I am thinking, dude, I just spent the best part of £180 on 4 boxes and the store is completely empty. The least you could do is nod, at least try to dry hump me into buying more stuff or something. What's going on? He recently stated on the Facebook page that he would be leaving the store to manage another. God, this is what it is. This is what it is. I'm telling you now. He's that manager. He's given to a store that previous. Okay, all right. Here's what happens. A normal manager, a normal nice guy manager, goes into a store, makes a moderate success, right? By employing gaming and things like that in the store. But Games Workshop don't want that, and so instead of like tarring the actual guy, the actual prodigy that they're gonna throw in there, right? They throw a grenade in there first. This guy's a grenade. He goes in there, he gets rid of everybody from the store, he pisses everybody off, right? He runs everybody off from the store, he ruins it, he tanks it, and then he leaves for another store. Then they bring in their actual manager that they actually like, who then starts to rebuild the store in their own image. No gaming, but he's a nice guy, and he's a good manager. That's what they're doing. I'm telling you. There's too many stories like this for it not to be what they're doing. I swear to God, they have managers on standby who go in and they tank a store through sheer nastiness. They tank a store, they get rid of they're the bad guy. Do you know what I mean? They get rid of the gaming, blah, blah, they get rid of everything, right? And then when the new guy comes in and he's really nice and says, listen guys, I can't do gaming because, you know, I'll get fired, but hey, I'm here for you, I'm here to sell you models, let's have a good time, right? He will get, like, less money than the previous guy got, the good guy, right? But he's the guy Games Workshop wants in there because they don't want games in their stores. Okay? I swear to God that's what they're doing. He said that he would be leaving to manage another store. God help the poor customers that have him as their manager. Quite frankly though, good fucking riddance. All of the old veterans that came back when Liam took over stopped going when Aaron took over. And his attitude towards customers made it so that the store performed worse than it had ever done before. My local had been around for roughly 20 years, and if the next guy is as bad or worse, then I think it may get closed down for good, which fucking sucks. Right now, I'm actively avoiding the store till the new manager arrives. Although, quite frankly, I don't know if I'll bother going back. It's just not the same place anymore. I don't think Games Workshop realising that hitting that balance between being a business and a community is what gets them to keep coming with long-term customers and having well-performing stores. I've only come across one store that allows gaming, and it's all the way up north. I messaged them saying I was planning to head to the area for some time away and asked if they allowed gaming. And the manager was a breath of fresh air, saying he'd be happy to have gaming in his store, asking me when I'd be down and if there was anything I was looking to buy that he could keep aside for me for when I came down so it could make the trip worth it. I won't say which store just in case he's doing gaming under the radar. He probably is. But that's see what he did there though? He said, yes, I'm doing gaming in the store, and to make it a worth a trip for you, do you want me to hold anything for you for while you're here? He's already selling your models. This is a good manager. Yes, of course you can game in my store. Since you're coming a long way, can I hold any models for you? So you've got them when you're here, and, you know, it's not a wasted trip. Or you know, you're not coming here and, you know, you're coming a long way and not getting anything. That is a really good manager. I would buy models from this guy. But that right there is the balance. He wants to engage with the community whilst also promoting sales in the store. Indeed. Indeed. I'm planning to head up there for a break over Christmas. So, cool manager who works at that store, if you're watching this, I'm looking forward to spending my money on all the new marine stuff in your store, because you are the manager who absolutely deserves it so far. Cheers, North. Blood Raven. No worries, man. Thank you very much. So, our last one of the day is a tournament tale. Oh, indeedy, a tournament tale. Let's get into it, shall we? And this is probably the best name I've heard in a while, by the way. So, Agrax Manshade says, Hey North, coming at you today with a tournament tale. Oh yes. This one is a bit of a barnstormer to say the least. It's not very long, but it is about a guy I've known for a while called Carl. He's a good friend of mine, and he has a bit of an acquired taste in the hobby. You see, Carl is competitive, but in nothing else but Warhammer 40,000. Outside of this, he's an absolute sweetheart. When I say he is competitive, I mean that he is obsessed with winning in 40k. He takes serious notes of his wins and loss record, and would play against beginners as if it was the final game of a grand tournament he had a chance of winning. My issue, in reality, is not with Carl's playstyle. You can play the game however you want. It's with his attitude in the game. In almost every game he played, you would hear some snide mutterings of, and I quote, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," when you make a move, or, "Sure, I mean, you could try that," if you're firing at something, or, "I wouldn't have put that there, shot that, charged that, but you do what you want if you want to lose." Yeah, this is a guy who I would just walk away from this game. And I'll just tell him why. Your attitude fucking stinks. So, and this is a hobby I like to enjoy, and I'm not enjoying it with you, so I'm going to leave. Bye. Now, Carl did not look like a neckbeard or anything like that. He's a normal looking dude who just lords over everybody because he has broken every single edition of Warhammer 40,000 since he started the hobby several years ago. His lists are always utterly ridiculous and cross the line for sportsmanship. He even uses grey areas in the rules to use rather frivolous interpretations of said rules to make his weapons do things that I don't think they should be able to do. These are not totally against the rules, but they can be read in different ways thanks to Games Workshop's inability to write rules properly. No matter what happened in his games, he would always put out his hand to shake as if that solved all the issues from the 3 hours of pain and torment he just put you through. It was a very much an attitude of, "It was nothing personal, kid." More than one kid left the table with him in tears. Now I know, losing is part of the game, and kids do need to learn how to lose. This guy just takes it too far. He'd pick the wings off a fly just to watch it squirm. That sort of thing. Games he could have ended in turn 3, he would draw out for hours so he could use all of his stuff, regardless of your requests or good-naturedly asking him to end the game as you had no chance of winning from this point. My god. So this is the guy we are dealing with. And this was the guy who, at a friendly but ranked tournament this year, just met his absolute match. His twin. Okay. His twin, however, had the opposite tactic. He had all of the hallmarks of Carl. All of the snide remarks. All of the overpowered lists playing for blood. All of the scummy tactics. But he went one better. I was already done with my tournament games by the time Carl and Giga Carl got their match underway. Giga Carl. By the time Carl and Giga Carl got their match underway. I was walking the hall watching the last games taking place with one of the tournament organisers, as they were nice chaps. Carl had brought his frankly ridiculous Eldar army, of course, and took great delight in all the rolls he could do before the game even started. His opponent had taken Custodes, so this was essentially a match of the two broken players playing 40k 10th edition's most broken armies. Essentially, I could give you the blow-by-blow, but here is the gist of what went down. Giga Carl got first turn, took the lead in points by taking objectives, threw down loads of abilities and cover abilities that made his Custodes next to impossible to actually kill, and then spent the rest of his turns deciding where to move his Captain General back and forth. He took the maximum amount of time of his turn in doing so, meaning that if he was allotted 20 minutes for his turn, but finished in 10 minutes, He would sit there for the following 20 minutes doing nothing but refusing to give Carl his turn as he moved as Captain General back and forth. Each game had a strict 2.5 hour time limit. Giga Carl was not playing Carl, he was playing the clock. He racked up objective points and he removed the odd model that Carl managed to kill. I could see Carl getting more and more frustrated and red-faced by Giga's antics. Giga would question every rule Carl had, actively proving him wrong in a couple of scenarios that ate up yet more game time. This lasted for an extra 30 minutes that the TOs gave them, making their game the only 3-hour game of the entire weekend. The game ended at the start of turn 4. Yeah, turn 4, and the start of it, at that. And the final score, was Carl 25, Giga Carl 32. Giga Carl had done it, and held out his hand to shake. Carl shook it, as if he'd just seen his entire life flash before his eyes. I headed over to speak to Carl, to overhear his conversation with his opponent. Carl said, "Why did you play that way? It was super lame to stall like that." Giga Carl just shrugged. Giga Carl said, "I didn't play your army though. I played you. Your previous games this weekend gave you a bit of a rep, and I know Eldar are utterly busted, and I'm sure you know too. So I played the game that was in front of me, man. Sorry. I delayed and fought for time and tried to keep the score low. If you were as good as you've been telling your opponents this weekend before me, you'd have found a way to beat me regardless, but it was a good game." Oh my god. That is a takedown and a half. That is a takedown. If you were as good as you've been saying, you'd have beaten me anyway. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. A lot of the time-wasting antics that Giga Carl was doing, he was being proven right for. It's because he was calling out the rules that Carl was getting wrong. And the TO was probably coming down on his side, and so people weren't even getting wise to the fact that he was wasting time. That he was running down the clock. That's insane. That is insane. With that, he turned and left. His models collected, and he took home second place. Carl got third place because of his single loss of the weekend, where he was nailed on for first place before he got it. So before the last game, he was nailed on for first place. He was way ahead of everybody else. My god, that must have sucked. On the ride home, Carl didn't speak much. We get along really well outside of the hobby, as I've said, and although we have gained a lot since, he has not mentioned the hobby in 2 months. I hope it's not been beaten out of him, and that he uses it as his chance to change. Cheers, Agrax Manshade. Okay, I'm hoping he does as well. Maybe you need to bring it up with him, and just say, look man, you know, you're not going to come across that guy again. Take it as a lesson learned, don't play that way anymore. Here's some lore, go read some lore, you'll love it, right? And if you don't love the lore, why are you doing this in the first place, right? At least then you know you're making the right decision to step away from the hobby altogether. Get this guy into the lore. That's what I would do. Lore solves everything. It really does. Anyway, I love you all a long time. I'll speak to you on Monday for some more Hobby Nightmares. I may speak to you over the weekend for a Q&A that my lovely patrons have put together, so that'll be really fun. So I probably will do that over the weekend. I love you all a long time. Speak to you then. Have a good one. Bye now.